What's up guys, it's Red here once again, and we do have some new news for you guys today from the man, the myth, the legend himself. Sakurai has once again spoken and he has tweeted out. Now let's have a look at two tweets that he has sent out today. The first is reading, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's DLC lineup is now complete. This time the selection was made entirely by Nintendo. I decide if we can create a fighter based on their selection, then come up with the plan. Now I know what you're thinking. There's no way in heck they got the DLC hashed out in the past couple of days since the direct took place. Of course not. Because like many people have been trying to say from the start, the DLC was planned before the game was even going to be anywhere near launch ready. And I know a lot of people, for some reason, had a hard time accepting that fact. But now we pretty much have Sakurai here confirming that the DLC was certainly already chosen, especially if there are any third-party choices in there, as they would need to have negotiated those rights beforehand. Now, planning DLC beforehand has been a common practice in other fighting games and just flat out in games in general. You have to get the ducks in a row beforehand to make the process go much smoother. As a result, we can probably expect the DLC release schedule to go rather smoothly because the DLC seems to have been hashed out beforehand. Moving on from that though, it seems that Nintendo, like I said, has 100% chosen all of the DLC. Now that does scare me a little bit, guys, I'm not gonna lie to you, because who knows what Nintendo will be basing this off of. I'm sure they're going to take into consideration things like finances, more so than fan favorites. They're going to try and make a profit. I think this right out of the gate may be a huge red flag for Geno fans. Now this is just my own personal opinion, but I think we've seen over the years that Nintendo doesn't necessarily care too much about Geno. I'm not saying that Geno wouldn't make a profit for them at all, because I think he does stand a good chance to make a profit. But for a long time, Geno's biggest boost for inclusion in people's eyes was that Sakurai wanted to put him in. We have the famous Brawl quote from him talking about how he wanted to include him and how Geno was a commonly requested fighter. Well, if this tweet is true, Sakurai's hands were officially tied for the DLC. Do you think Nintendo would elect Geno as the potential Square rep when they've ignored him for so long now? Now they could pull one right out of left field and still select Geno. Anything is possible. But it felt like Sakurai was Geno's lifeline, and that's seemingly gone now. My bet has now fully shifted into Slime's corner from Dragon Quest. Unless of course Sakurai relayed to them that the character is just too hard to bring to life in a reasonable manner. In that case, the mantle may fall down to Erdrick or possibly even the new hero from Dragon Quest XI. I am not so sure Nintendo would pick up the phone to Disney and Square for Sora, so my hope for Sora was based off the newfound relationship between Sakurai and Nomura. If Sakurai's hands were indeed tied, I think my boy Sora might be donezo as well. It certainly gets a lot harder for his inclusion. And Dragon Quest would appear to be the logical choice for Nintendo's sake, especially if the Switch version of Dragon Quest XI is indeed almost ready. It could go hand in hand with a Dragon Quest Smash DLC reveal. But that's just Square focused. This tweet really changes the landscape of the DLC as we know it. I felt like we had some idea of what to expect, and now I feel like everything is up in the air. How is Nintendo going to go about doing this? Is every single DLC going to be primarily focused on moneymakers, profit, or are they going to surprise everyone and go full fan favorites? Does this confirm more first-party characters, less third-party characters, or will they all be third-party characters? It feels so up in the air right now. You can make the case for this influencing so many characters who were in contention for DLC. How does this reflect on the whole Steve versus Banjo situation? Would Nintendo volunteer 2 out of the 5 DLC spots to Microsoft reps? I'm not so sure they would even consider that. And who would Nintendo want to push more? They've already been pushing Minecraft super hard. It would seem to be a boost for Steve on the surface at the very least, unless Banjo has some secret project coming for the Switch. Maybe an N64 mini release or something like that, Banjo 3. On the surface though, it definitely seems like Steve gets a boost here. And where does this place characters like Lloyd and Heihachi, who were all the talk again because Sakurai had vouched for them in interviews in the past? If Nintendo is choosing, what Namco character do they reach for? If they go for one at all now. I do find it hard to believe though that they wouldn't reward Namco for again assisting them on the building of this game once more. If it's not one of those two characters, would Nintendo choose Youre instead? Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition is getting a release on the Nintendo Switch in January of next year. I could definitely see them using this to spread the character's name around even further. And what about Ubisoft? They've had a great relationship with Nintendo as of late. They've been collaborating on multiple games like Starlink and Mario & Rabbids. So does this raise the likelihood of an Ubisoft character? Everyone knows how popular Rayman has been. He's been a fan favorite for years now. Could they elect to throw him into the battle for DLC? Or would they instead elect to go with the Rabbids themselves as a character? Nintendo may want to include them since they have taken more of a focus on Nintendo consoles than Rayman has specifically. What does this mean for Pokemon and Fire Emblem? We all know that Nintendo loves to play favorites with these two franchises, and it's clear why. They bring them a lot of money. They're extremely popular. If Nintendo is choosing the DLC, could we be staring down yet another Fire Emblem character and possibly a newcomer from the 8th generation of Pokemon that is supposed to be debuting next year? We could get that Pokemon somewhere late into the Fighter Pass, like the 4th or even the 5th slot. And Bandana Dee is a character that Sakurai has appeared to have been avoiding for some reason. What does this say for his chances? Keep in mind, this is a character who Sakurai himself created, but only got upgraded to official Team Kirby status in the modern era of Kirby games, which have been developed after Sakurai had already left the team. Would Nintendo themselves give him more favorable chances as they know how popular this character is in Japan? Bethesda is another company that has been open about their relationship with Nintendo and how it's been a great experience. Doomslayer has been a popular request for quite some time now. What does this say for his chances? I could certainly see this helping give him at the least a little boost, as Nintendo has spoken highly of Bethesda as well, and they seem to be working great together. Doom has come to the Switch, so I think he does seem to be fair game. But again, this is all only speculation. We have actually no idea what Nintendo is going to do with this. They could completely surprise all of us and bring some characters we never saw coming. I'm worried, but I'm trying to remain optimistic at the same time. Sakurai was a lifeline for a lot of the characters that were still on the board as potential DLC. With him out of the picture, who knows what's going to happen? Now, after talking about all these characters, we still don't even know how the process went down. Did Nintendo just give Sakurai a list of 10 characters and tell him to choose 5 of them? Or was it a case where they suggested 5 characters only, and if he had a problem with one of them, then Nintendo would select another one to replace them with? I'm wondering if Sakurai had any hand at all in choosing from a list or not. I suppose that's something we won't ever be able to find out unless it leaks from behind the back scenes. At the end of the day though, Nintendo has the hardcore numbers of how well each DLC sold for Smash 4. And I am 100% sure they are going to take that data into consideration when they're making these choices. DLC sales for characters like the old veterans may not be that useful for their data, but I'm sure Cloud, Bayonetta, and others will give them quite the insight on what the appropriate move is to make in their eyes. Now from there, can we just take a second to reiterate the point that no one, and I mean absolutely no one, should be out here harassing the man Sakurai in his tweets. They've had to once again issue another tweet talking about not mentioning your character once in his feed. I get that people can be upset at the outcome of these things, and it's fine to feel that way. Heck, even I was a little bit down and upset myself, but try not to cross the line. I can only imagine some of the things this man has had to read. Let's try to at least not involve Sakurai with the mountain of salt that was left over from the directs and from the character exclusions. The developers of the game still need time to focus. The game is not out yet. They have much bigger things to be worrying about right now. I am all for rallying support around your favorite characters, but at least wait a while to flood them with your thoughts. They deserve to be able to work in peace while they are still working on this game. But that brings us to the end of this video. Guys, let me know what you think of all this and what does all of this mean? Who are some of the characters that are potential frontrunners for DLC now? And are you worried about your favorite character's chances? Don't forget to check out some of my previous videos if you have time, and subscribe with notifications on for more future content. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.